Okay, so hi everyone, I'm John. This is just a quick video to give you a walkthrough of Zenchimp, what it is, and give you enough information for you to work out whether it might be something you want to use, want to install. And I'll do another video after this for how to install it, how to configure it, and how to set it up so you can make the most out of it. And if I've got time, I'll do a third video, which will be how to set up your development environment if you want to develop on it, because it's an open source project. Anyone who wants to contribute is more than welcome. Okay, so let's start by just taking a quick look. So this is Zendesk. If I click here, this will be the main screen. What I'll do is I'll move myself out of the way. So this will be the main screen that you use in Zendesk. I'm assuming that most of you know what Zendesk is already and have already used it. If you're watching this video, it would make sense. So this is your queue of tickets you need to work for the day, customers that need help. If I were to click on this one by Joe Blogs, help, my internet is broken. This is all just sample data, by the way, that I've put in there. It's nothing special. Quick rundown of Zendesk. This is the ticket screen. If I want to look at Joe Blogs, more information about Joe Blogs, I can click on his user record here. And down this left-hand column, it's got extra information that I can configure about him. And if I want to look at the organization that Joe works for, in this case, Joe's blog, I can edit that information as well on this screen. So basically what Zenchimp does is whenever I'm interacting with Joe, whether it's working one of his tickets or editing his user record, Zendesk will appear here in the right-hand column. You can switch it on and off if you want more space with this apps button. So it'll appear here and it will just tell you, is Joe and all of his information, has it been synchronized down to Mailchimp or is it not in Mailchimp yet? If it is in Mailchimp, is his information current and correct and up to date, or do you need to sync the latest information down? Another thing it does is in Zenchimp, you've generally got different mailing lists for different occasions. You might email one set of customers whenever you do an update to your product or service. You might email a different set of customers whenever you've got a VIP special offer, things like that. So in this example, I've set up 3 maintenance emails mailing list, a VIP promotion emails mailing list, and a monthly scorecard mailing list. So Zenchimp just allows you to select which ones you do and don't want him to be part of. So the main reason why I wrote this app, there is actually an official Mailchimp app. In fact, I think there's 3. Yeah. So this is the Zendesk App Store, and there's 3 apps for Mailchimp, and they're all free. However, they all rely on you having a Zendesk add-on called Customer Lists set up. Now, at the time, we were using the Essential plan of Zendesk, which is £5 per agent per month. And by default, Customer Lists, the thing required for the official apps, required us to upgrade to Professional, which is £40 per agent per month, which if you've got a few members of staff working on your service desk, it adds up. So I just wrote this in my spare time, thinking it would be a quick job, and it wasn't. Just to save the company I work for a few quid and to keep me busy. So the good things about the official plugins is that they give you an all-in-one view, as I understand. I've never actually used them, but as I understand, they give you an all-in-one view. So it'll be, here are all your customers in Zendesk. Here are all your customers in Mailchimp. Which ones need synchronizing? Which ones aren't in Mailchimp yet? Which ones do you want in Mailchimp? Which ones don't you want in Mailchimp? And which ones are out of sync? So it will give you an all-in-one view for all of your customers at the one time. Zenchimp doesn't do that. It's just on a customer by customer basis, a user by user basis. So whenever I'm interacting with a particular user, you've got a prompt there to say, right, well, this user's in sync or is out of sync. Do you want to synchronize? Do you want to exclude them from Mailchimp? What do you want to do with this one particular customer? Okay, let me move myself out of the way again. And if we switch over to Zendesk here, I'll talk about the last feature of Zenchimp, which is the ability to set up which fields you want to synchronize down and which ones you don't. So if I click on this little link that says in sync here on the Zenchimp plugin, it'll bring a little pop-up and show you what information is stored in Zendesk about this user and what the information looks like on the Mailchimp side as well. So you can configure, well, firstly in Zendesk, you can configure additional fields for you want to store on the user record or in the organization record for all of your customers. And then, of course, you don't necessarily want to synchronize all of that information down to Mailchimp. So in Zenchimp, you can say, these are the fields I do want to send down, and these are the fields I don't. So I'll show you on Joe's user record here. Let's go to the bottom. Right, we only store 2 extra bits of information on this user. Sites we host for this customer. So in this little mocked up example, I guess I am a web agency that hosts websites for people. So these are the different sites we host for this customer. And is he a priority support customer or not? In fact, I've misspelled that. I've put a dot at the start, so I'll remove that dot. Okay, now instantly you can see that Joe Bloggs' information is now no longer in sync. And if we click on this link or the big button, it will show us why. It's like we just removed that dot. So now the information in Mailchimp user says it's the list of sites we host is www.joesblog.com, but actually it says something different in Zenchimp. Do you want to synchronize that down? Yeah, let's do that. Brilliant. It's now all up to date. We can close that. And then on the Zenchimp plugin, it shows it's up to date. Likewise, on the organization fields, we've got, in this example, we store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra bits of information about any organization we hold. So here we've got the name of his company, Joe's Blog. We've got the email address we use as a service desk whenever we send anyone that works for Joe's Blog an email. In this example, we're using personalized email addresses just to make things a bit more friendly. So whenever anyone at Joe's Blog receives an email from us, it will come from joeshelp@upandrunning.co.uk. Obviously, when we send an email campaign out in Mailchimp, we want the from email address to reflect that same email address as well. So that's something we need to synchronize down to Mailchimp. Another thing we do is the URL of the company logo in Mailchimp. So I've uploaded an image in Mailchimp and I've copied and pasted the URL of that to here, just to make sure that whenever we send a mail shot out, any customers that work for Joe's Blog will have the right company logo in it. Number of employees, we don't really need that in Mailchimp, but I think I've configured this example to send it down anyway, and the year they joined us. What I'll do is I'll show you an example newsletter that I put together in Mailchimp. It's not brilliant, but it shows you the idea. VIP offer, I've got some big news, test logo URL. Hi, blank, we are proud to have been working in partnership with blank since blank. I'll switch on the live customer data so you can see what it actually looks like. That's for customer at upandrunning.com. That's for Joe Blog, and that's for Joe Bloggs. This is all just my test data. So now the data has been synced from Zendesk down to Mailchimp, we can see what the newsletters will actually look like in real life. There's his company logo. Hi, Joe. We are proud to have been working in partnership with Joe's Blog since... Okay, the year's missing there, but that's because the year's missing here in Zendesk. So if I were to put the year in here, 2018, and then to synchronize that data down to Mailchimp, all we need to do is go to interact with that user, either on the user screen or by looking at one of Joe Bloggs' tickets. It will now helpfully say, right, he's out of sync now. You can click the synchronize button. It will show you why he's out of sync and what data is different between Zendesk and Mailchimp. You've got this extra button now to synchronize from Zendesk down to Mailchimp. It doesn't synchronize the other way yet. If you do want that, you can add a feature request. I'll talk more about that in my next video. And now the new data's been synced down to Mailchimp. Hopefully I can just go and refresh it. Yeah, it's there. So now when we go to preview his email, we're proud to have been working in partnership with Joe's blog since, and then the data from Zendesk 2018. So the final thing I'll show you is just a quick rundown of what it looks like when a brand new customer gets in touch that's never been in touch before. Their information isn't in Zendesk, their information isn't in Mailchimp, and I'll just show you what happens as you go through the steps and how the data changes at the Mailchimp end. So if we go back to our to-do list, here's one I prepared earlier. There's at the top here we're simulating a brand new customer getting in touch. My customer's payments aren't going through. If we click on that ticket, I'll move myself out of the way again. Right, so here Edmund Halley has got in touch with us, saying my customer's payments aren't going through. So when you go to work his ticket, Zenchimp will be there. But instead of telling you that it's synchronized or he's not or he's out of sync, it will say, we've never actually seen him before. Do you want to include him in Mailchimp? And if so, how should his emails be branded? So the first option you could click is exclude. So actually don't synchronize him to Mailchimp. And whenever we see him in Zendesk, we just want it to show this little monkey behind bars to show he's not included in Mailchimp. He's not going to get emails. So if I show you the customer data in Mailchimp, you can see he's not in there, Edmund Halley. Or what we could do is we could synchronize him as a corporate user. Actually, because he's a brand new user, let's go and set up some information. Let's go and set up our data. So sites we host for this customer, I don't know what site. We might host edsflorists.com. Might offer him priority support. So if we decide we actually want to synchronize this customer down to Mailchimp, we could click corporate. And then let's change a couple of things first. Let's sign him up for VIP emails. Let's sign him up for monthly scorecard emails. And because he's a corporate customer, what that means is in Zenchimp's understanding of the world is that he's a member of a company. So we've set up, he's got a company record here, Monsters Inc. And we've already got a company record set up in Zendesk with all the information about Monsters Inc. So, brand new customer, Zendesk's noticed his email address ends in Monsters Inc., monsters.inc. So it's automatically assigned him to the Monsters Inc. organization. So when we do synchronize him down to Mailchimp, Mailchimp now knows all of the information, not just about him, but about the organization. So now if we have a look in Mailchimp now and just refresh the page, hopefully we should see his user record there. There he is, right at the top, Edmund Halley. There's his company logo. Ed's Florists, we just entered that in Zendesk. Send system maintenance emails, that's a yes. And that corresponds to that text box there. Etc, etc. That's all the information. It's been synced down from Zendesk to Mailchimp. The final thing worth mentioning is this button here. So in the company I worked for, we had big brand corporate customers like Electrolux, where we had 50 users getting in touch, but they all worked for Electrolux. And whenever we sent an mail shot out, we wanted to make sure that the Electrolux emails were sent out looking really perfect, really beautiful. They had the Electrolux logo on there, and they all looked great. We also had customers getting in touch from our service desk who were just one-off customers, end consumers. Every now and again, we might want to send them an email through Mailchimp, but we didn't necessarily want to go through the effort of uploading their company logo. So we had two different kinds of emails that went out. We had corporate emails that went out to our very important customers, and then we had SME or person emails. So when a new customer from an unknown organization gets in touch, it wouldn't be linked to an organization in Zendesk. We wouldn't have an organization record here. That's why it's prompting us to create one. And we wouldn't have the option of syncing down this user as a corporate person where all the organization information, like the company logo, etc., gets synchronized down to Mailchimp. So we had two different types of customers. We had very small one-off customers and then the very big important customers. That's what those two buttons are for. The SME button will just sync down the user details on the user record. Here we've got the sites we host for this customer, added priority support, but it won't sync down the organization information in Zendesk, which is the company logo, the organization name, things like that. If they are linked to an organization, let's link them to Monsters Inc. We've now got the extra button here in Zenchimp. We can synchronize them down as just a small time customer where we don't send the big shiny emails. We just send a different email template that doesn't have the company logo and all the rest of it attached. In fact, I'll show you the data, how that data looks in Zendesk now. Sorry, in Mailchimp now. So eHally, there we go. We don't have the company logo. We don't have the number of employees. We don't have the year the customer joined us. We don't have all the stuff that we link to the organization record in Zendesk. Or I could choose to synchronize them as a corporate customer, in which case they do have to have an organization in Zendesk attached. And then if I refresh that in Mailchimp, we can see now the logo's appeared again, and all of the other organization information has appeared there. So the reason for these two different buttons is that when a lot of the time when a customer gets in touch, you don't necessarily want to have to set up an organization record for them in Zendesk just to be able to email them in Mailchimp or whatever. So the last thing I should mention in this walkthrough before I close this video down is that it's an open source project. It was just written by me, a guy in his bedroom, no intention of making any money out of this. It'd be great if you used it. It'd be great if other people, as well as myself, get some benefit out of this. But obviously I can't offer any guarantees that it's going to carry on working. If Mailchimp change their APIs again, or if Zendesk change their APIs again, it might stop working. Hopefully, some of you out there will want to maybe collaborate with me, make some pull requests on GitHub, and help me do some bug fixes or help me add extra features in there, and also help me out if Zendesk or Mailchimp change the way they do things and it stops working again. The good news is we'll have plenty of warning if that happens. Zendesk and Mailchimp don't just change things without letting people know first. And the other piece of good news is that this isn't really business critical. So if it does die or die for a little while whilst we get it up and running again, it shouldn't grind your business to a halt. The alternatives, of course, are you can export your customer data to Excel and then manually import it into Mailchimp after a little bit of tweaking, and just do that once a week as an emergency measure, which is what I used to do before I installed this thing in the first place. Or, of course, you could upgrade to the professional version of Zendesk and use the official app if you had the money. Okay, so thanks for listening, and the next video will be how to download it, install it, configure it, and get it set up.